What's something that people under 25 will never understand? How annoying it was to try and use a phone and computer in the house. Blockbuster movie nights with family. Chaotic and predatory aimed chat rooms. I don't know how I didn't get kidnapped. What it was like before the Twin Towers went down. Most would experience being home alone or with an older siblings, both under the age of 13. I remember being home at age 7 with my brother age 10 watching me while my dad was Air Force and my mum worked 2 to 3 jobs. What it was like having a wall and car phone and no cell phone. Got to print those directions since no GPS too. That the internet is more than just apps. Like, the youth I've spoken to, most anyways, don't have the intuition to use the internet beyond the apps that curate all the content. It's bizarre. Some don't know how to type on a keyboard or understand how a computer mouse works. I once was setting up someone's computer at work, and this fear out of high school guy said I don't know if I can get used to a keyboard and mouse. Blew my mind. I honestly thought that computer literacy was going to be way better for this generation. Privacy. As more and more people get Ring cameras and CCTV is everywhere and the quality of the high definition footage improving, Alexa listening, cell phones listening, etc., etc. It's a thing of the past. The concept of getting lost in a crowd or anonymously moving to a small town in the middle of nowhere to start over. Already it's non-existent. As technology continues to expand into our lives, it will truly be gone completely. The fear and confusion that was literally intertwined with every part of life in the days post 9/11, especially if you were military or like me at the time, a military brat. I didn't see my parents for like 6 months. Everyone got scrambled around. Schools were cautious about everything. Everything felt somber. It was a weird time that I don't think I can properly explain to someone who wasn't also there at the time. Before electronics became everyone's babysitter, a good portion of us were locked out of the house. From sunrise to sunset. Probably seems evil to a lot of people now, but people certainly had a lot more respect back then. Weren't that many fat people either now that I think about it. Being fat used to be a sign of extreme wealth, now it's a sign of extreme poverty. My, how things can change so fast. Calling a radio station to request a song, waiting by the radio with a tape recorder until your song came on to record, repeat for a week, and make your favorite songs onto a mixtape, then eventually during dial-up internet connecting with your 27,000 modem, going to that sketchy website to download an MP3. Spending an hour to download a single song, repeat for a week, and then burn that mix CD. Everyone seems to have taken this to mean everyone born before or after 1999. I took it to mean all 25 and unders of every generation. What it's like to parent. How little high school actually matters. How often your parents were right. Also, how often they were actually wrong. The value of believing in Santa Easter Bunny. That the 20-year-old is equal parts adult and not adult. Playing outside with friends from the neighborhood. Anywhere we wanted, within a half-mile of home. Parents didn't have to worry about lawsuits, pedophiles, or someone snatching children. There were no gaming consoles, no internet, 3 channels on the TV, and we weren't allowed to be inside during the day in the summer. Children played outside all the time. Part of me feels for anybody who never experienced life before social media and the internet. As beneficial as the internet and social media are, it seems like life was more simple. Calling a friend's house phone, going to Blockbuster, hanging out at the mall, making mixtapes or recording a song off the radio, actually taking your film roll to get developed. Observing from the back seat of the car the fight erupting in front because the non-driving parent allegedly did not point out in time to take the next exit from the highway. Realizing that this first day of holiday is now ruined and dinner shall be consumed in utter silence while death stares are being exchanged. GPS saved so many marriages. How great the 90s and early 2000s were. Millennials were definitely spoiled. Nostalgic for that time is because our adulthoods are not living up to childhood expectations. Who would have thought most of us would not be able to afford homes, or have children, or build wealth? Becoming really well acquainted with an album or a mixtape, they'll never hear a song and have all their friends start singing the next track on the album, just because we've all listened to it so many times. They'll never get acquainted with the less popular songs on an album, just because you have to listen to them to get to the good ones. 47 here. They will understand more than we know to, as I understand more than my parents. Time and life move in only one direction. Let's stop this backwards, endless, senseless in my day cycle. It's not a lost society you're hearkening back to, it's your lost youth. Deal with it without bringing everyone down. Those of us over 25 don't really care about your interests and preferences. Not that we don't care about your well-being. The influencers and YouTubers and singers you think are the most important people in the world are meaningless to most of us. The trends you think are self-evidently so cool are not. Having no way to contact your friends once you left the house, meeting up at a bar at 9 p.m., but you ran late and didn't show up until 10 p.m., and they went somewhere else. Good luck. Summertime riding your bike to where you thought all your friends were hanging out, but they're not there. Good luck. Making friends. When you're young, you meet plenty of new people, and it's usually easy to form bonds. Once you're done with college and jump into the active life, you don't meet as many people. People start settling, and those you befriend are more acquaintances than real friends. The joy of recording your answering machine greeting where you sound competent yet fun. ORGANISED yet nonchalant. Sexy, but not creepy. Interesting, but not weird. Then knowing everyone will be impressed because a good answering machine greeting was difficult. Being kicked out of the house for the day during the summer and riding your bicycles around town, and buying candy with the 50 cents you have to your name. No phones, no tablets, just finding your friends at the or whatever. Having that become the best day ever. Apart like me 34. There's a vast array of life changes that happen once the internet technology took off where my experience and their experience in the early stages of life was vastly different. Just ignoring or denying something completely, and it will just go away. Health recovery takes much longer, or did for me after 25. For some, they'll always be alright as long as someone else pays for their lack of responsibility and accountability. Stocking up on AOL CDS. Going into chat rooms and everyone asking ASL age. Sex. Location. Giving your computer aids by downloading music of LimeWire. Everyone who used MySpace could pass intro to HTML. The satisfaction of flipping that sidekick open. It was landline call to girl. Parent would answer, they would ask who you were calling, then ask who you were. You would reply with name. They would yell to their daughter. She would yell back who. It was so embarrassing. Based on comments from young people, it is impossible to move to a cheaper city in order to own a house. Apparently you must remain in a high cost of living liberal area with an ocean or mountains nearby, and anything else is not worth living in. I see one or two comments here that say life before the internet. I agree with this, but do you not think that the same will be said of AI? It seems to me that AI is going to have as profound an effect as the internet did just before. It was landline call to girl. Parent would answer, they would ask who you were calling, then ask who you were. You would reply with name. They would yell to their daughter. She would yell back who. It was so embarrassing. Finding a place without a digital map. Traveling long distances without a phone. I can't even believe I used to drive alone to visit my BF in college. To states away. When I was in high school without a cell phone. As a 25-year-old, these are making me laugh. Was I supposed to forget everything and have my brain rewired the second I woke up on my 25th birthday? I may have not used one, but I know what a VHS tape is now. I think pretty often about how quickly public opinion changed on gay marriage and how baffling it would seem to a kid who was born after 2000. That as recently as the early 2000s, most people opposed it. They will never know the feeling of pure empowerment after having an argument over the phone and being able to hang up by slamming the handset onto the base. Tapping glass just isn't the same. Scheduling your calendar so you don't miss that television show. Alternatively, hoping that the show you missed will be played months later so you can finally see it during summer rerun season. Some people seem to think in this thread that under 25 Gen Alpha which is not the case at all. Surprise, early Gen Z has had TV before. VHS tapes, old McDonald's. Not everyone had internet then. Going to the library for research card catalogs. All information is at the tip of your fingertips these days. Want to know what color a dinosaur is? What's the national bird of a state? If you don't take care of your body now, you'll most likely regret it. The sense of invincibility evaporates fast when you throw out your back trying to pick up a sock from the floor. The sense of parents getting old. I see them as more fragile beings now. The compassion just kicks in even though they have fucked up in a lot of ways. They're there and I'm grateful. When the local radio station had a contest to call a 10, and you had a rotary phone, so you dial the first 6 digits and wait to dial that 7th number when they announced it. Subscribing to Netflix was once upon a time a more convenient option for having access to your favorite shows. It was just all on one platform and for an affordable price. Round dial phones. I've seen a couple teenagers struggle with it at school. The user interface of those old phones is really bad looking at it from today's perspective. Back in the day, arranging to meet friends meant committing because there were no mobile phones to check their whereabouts, distance, or if they were still coming. It's not worth fighting that hard for your boyfriend or girlfriend. Just get another. Dating is supposed to be the easiest part. You guys aren't even married yet. Not being able to talk to friends or family who lives in different cities or overseas. Because long-distance calls and or text messaging were expensive back then. Coding using punch cards, handing them into the computer center, and then waiting a few hours to get the line print output saying syntax error at line 37.